Hi, welcome back to the Weekly Waypoint. This is episode 394, but if it is your first, do not worry. You do not need to watch the prior 393. Today we are playing Spelunky. Why are we playing Spelunky? Well, broadly because I felt like it. Why does man do anything, you know? Why, what is a man but a miserable little pile of secrets after all? No, the other day I was downloading some old roguelikes and I was playing them again just to kind of, get the measure of how they used to be versus how they are now. And I've realised that broadly speaking, I think I do prefer roguelikes where your runs are shorter. I feel like most roguelikes nowadays, or at least most of the big successful ones, are ones where your runs are like 30-40 minutes long. And I find that when I play a roguelike where your run is 30 to 40 minutes long, when you die and you're supposed to go again, a lot of people have the instinct of hell yeah, I want to go again. I have the instinct of hell no, I just spent 30 to 40 minutes on this and I'm gonna quit the game and do something else now. Not because I'm sore that I died or anything, but just because that's just the way my attention span works. But I've been playing games like Spelunky again, where death comes quickly and unfairly. If you have never played Spelunky, first of all, let me tell you, this is not footage from someone who is good at Spelunky. Firstly, I am very out of practice. I want to stress that. I am very rusty, I am very out of practice, and I make lots of little stupid mistakes. But also, this is just a hilariously unforgiving game, as you're going to see through some of my deaths throughout this video. Spoiler alert, I do not win the game in this video. That is not the purpose of the background footage today. Instead, I just wanted to play some and show you. My favourite part of Spelunky has always been the hilariously quickly way in which runs can end, and there sure are some of those today. Spelunky 2 does exist. I bought it on Xbox. I don't use my Xbox anymore, so we're playing Spelunky 1. But yeah, I'll probably pick up Spelunky 2 on Steam again at some point when it goes on sale. Actually, I should go put that on my wishlist. I don't think it is. But yes, Spelunky is a true roguelike in that it has no cross-run progression, and most of the time that puts me off of a roguelike. But this time, nah, it would feel weird. Actually, no, I take that back. There is some cross-run progression. You can unlock shortcuts so that you can start at later stages instead of going from the beginning every time. But I think if you do that, you forfeit the ability to like unlock some important things or achievements or whatever. There's the first stupid death. I'm not going to keep track of all of them because we're going to be talking about plenty of different things in this video, but yeah, keep an eye out. Also, this was the daily challenge run, and as you can see, I didn't do too great. That's the thing about the daily challenge in Spelunky though. There's also tons of people who also didn't do too great because of how you can die in an instant. Like, in this game, as you've just seen, spikes are an insta-kill. There are later things in later levels which are an insta-kill. You can be doing just fine. You can have full health. You can have like the laser gun or whatever. You can be on top of the world. In fact, you can be above full health. You can just like, hoard hearts in this game, and then a spider drops on top of you from somewhere you didn't see without you noticing in time to react, and it knocks you in spikes and you're instantly dead and the run is over. If that sounds frustrating and unfair to you, well, it's more funny than anything, so don't worry about it. I've never beat Spelunky, by the way. I've never done a run of Spelunky where I've beat the game, so that is something that I definitely want to do at some point in my life. Long-time viewers of the channel may be familiar with Spelunky already, because I used to do a series even before I ever did the Weekly Waypoint called the Roguelike Ramble, or, well, originally it was called the Daily Rogue, but that was a little bit of a misnomer because I wasn't doing it every day. I was just doing daily challenges. And the idea with the Roguelike Ramble was to play a run of a roguelike game with live commentary, so not like this, and it would end whenever I would die, and that was really fun. I recently brought it back. I say recently, I most recently brought it back, I think it was a year or two ago now, with Eldritch around Halloween time. Not because I wanted to be spooky, but just because I felt like it. It's been a while since I've done an episode of the Roguelike Ramble, and I actually may do it again sometime soon. It's actually been a while since I've put out any kind of live recorded gameplay videos, and I apologize for that. It's the kind of thing that I think slipped beneath my radar. I had started to experiment with it, and I was really enjoying it. I particularly enjoyed kind of like, if we're going to be frank, how easy it is to make those kinds of videos, because, you record it, you do some like very mild editing, and then you render it and you put it out. You know, it's pretty quick to do, and it's pretty fun, and I think people enjoyed my content like that when I did that. Last thing I did was Doric's Quest, and I think honestly the thing that probably stopped me from doing that kind of content is that was in my mind the slot of what I was doing then, and I got to the point within my attention span where I no longer found World of Warcraft fun for the moment, and then I just kind of forgot I was doing that altogether. So hey, the roguelike ramble, maybe that will be coming back at some point to a YouTube channel near you. Not sure if it should be Spelunky necessarily, because those could be 2-minute long videos, but I guess that's the fun of them. Anyway, let's get to talking about what video games I've been playing this week, besides Spelunky, that is. And honestly, it's been a bit of a mixed bag this week. Nothing's really super grabbed and held my attention. I've probably spent the most hours in The Lord of the Rings Online. I'm continuing my adventures through Middle-earth, as you may have seen through yesterday's video. If you have not and you would like to, that is a thing that is available to you. But after playing a bunch of Lord of the Rings Online, I thought to myself, hey, you know what? I own those Middle-earth games, Shadow of War and Shadow of Mordor. I should probably give them another go, because I only ever played half an hour of Shadow of Mordor, and I don't know why I didn't continue it. So I downloaded Shadow of Mordor, and I played that opening half an hour again, and I reminded myself why I didn't continue it. I have unpopular opinions about Shadow of Mordor, and they are based entirely on the experience of the first half an hour of gameplay, and are therefore subject to much scrutiny, I know. But first impressions are important, and my first impressions of that game were not great. My main complaints, I suppose, are, well, I mean, first of all, we should mention this is a game from, what, 2013, 2014, so it has aged by now. But this is a game which was very much meant to be Assassin's Creed / Batman Arkham games in terms of combat and general, like, world exploration and stealth and all that stuff. And I just felt like the base rank and file enemies took way more hits than they should have, and also the feedback response for hitting the enemies was virtually non-existent, so it felt like I was just kind of like slashing at water. And then also they have this whole mechanic where when you down an enemy, when they're stunned on the ground, you press right bumper and X to stab them on the ground and kill them and execute them. But every time I tried to do that, for whatever reason, my guy just picked them up instead. So I don't know if I had some input issues going on there or whatever, but that definitely contributed to my frustration and my, I guess, growing dislike. This isn't a particularly strong opinion, by the way. If you like Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you're wrong, but this is just my experience. And also, finally, while I acknowledge that I barely got to see it, the open world of the game broadly seemed to me like this mudscape, which was just full of patrolling orcs, and I don't know, man, that wasn't super exciting to go and explore in my eyes. So in short, I guess do not expect a Shadow of Mordor video on the horizon or anything like that. I know I'm in the minority here, I know that I'm dumping the game after a very brief first impression, but I don't know, sometimes you can just tell that a game's not going to click with you. And there's so much else to go and play that I don't really want to... I feel so brutal saying waste my time after giving a game half an hour, but you know, I don't owe anyone anything. I'm happy to continue plodding through my Lord of the Rings Online experience, thank you very much. That being said, I think if they announced a new Middle-earth Shadow of game, I don't know if that's the name of the series. I don't know anything about Shadow of War, but if they announced like a game in that vein by those same developers maybe, or maybe by different developers based on how I feel, and it was like set in Middle-earth, but it was more like, instead of just being Mordor, it was like the entire world, or like other parts of it, that could be pretty fun. I can still see that kind of game working for that kind of world. Ghost of Rohan, make it happen. Just a shame I bounced off this one. But speaking of super early first impressions of games, because I'm afraid that's all I can really bring you this week, I recently bought Marvel's Midnight Suns on super deep discount because... well, I don't know, do I need a reason? Are you interrogating me? Nah, I'm kidding. So every now and again, a game comes along that I don't care about. I don't really give two craps about it. Yeah, I don't use the word crap enough. I should use the word crap more often. And it'll be like a AAA game that will retail for like £60. You know, I'll see a trailer for it, I'll be like a 4 out of 10 on the mildly intrigued scale. And then like 2 or 3 years will go by, and then it'll be available for like 10 quid, and I'll look at it, and I'll go, well, for 10 quid? I might as well look at what this game actually is. And I remember I was put off by Marvel Midnight Suns immediately when they showed off the card system, because I'm not really a card game guy. I like Pokemon TCG Pocket and pretty much nothing else. And I think we're kind of out of this phase now, but for a while around this time when this game came out, we were in a phase in gaming where everything had to have a card system attributed to it, even when it didn't make sense. Remember Back for Blood? Did that really need to have a card system? Anyway, Marvel Midnight Suns fell into that category. At first I was interested in the general overview of a strategic battleground, basically XCOM but Marvel. I think it might even be made by the devs who did the recent XCOM games. And I remember as soon as cards showed up on the screen, like trading cards, although they're not trading cards, I was immediately put off. I was like, okay, whatever, I'm out. Turns out that is what we call a dumb opinion, because it's basically just abilities. It's just another way of showing you your abilities and stuff. If it had literally been the same game, but they'd shown an ability bar instead of cards, I would probably have given this game the time of day. But anyway, I've only played a couple hours of this game, and it's interesting. I look at the user reviews and people are like, the story's incredible, and I look at critic reviews and they're like, the story's kind of rubbish. There's a weird disconnect there between players and critics, and that's kind of a whole thing in general, actually. Like, that's a whole video waiting to happen. Why did general users versus game critics have such differing opinions nowadays? It feels like this happened with Starfield. Anyway, that's getting away from the point. I've played the first few hours of it. I did watch a video where someone said that it's not really a worthwhile game until 5 hours in. It does not put its best foot forwards, and I can kind of see that. It's not like super overly heavily tutorialized or anything, but if you are just interested in this game for the combat, you're gonna find yourself spending an annoyingly long time talking to people and running around this small little hub and, you know, that kind of thing. I don't mind that, and I think probably my fan of Marvel Comics is carrying me there where it might not carry someone who is less of a fan of Marvel Comics. But yeah, I haven't really seen enough complexity within the, you know, tactical combat to really tell you whether it's super good or not yet, but everyone says that's the best thing about the game and it's super good, so go listen to them. And yeah, I'm having a good time with it. I played a mobile game for like a brief minute called Marvel Strike Force, and I remember thinking, if this was on Steam, I wouldn't mind playing it on Steam. And this is kind of like, you know, the non-mobile version of that kind of a game. It's actually pretty cool. Comparing it to Marvel Strike Force is doing a huge disservice, by the way. But yeah, the story and the dialogue and running around the open world hub is very mid. It's very, you know, nobody talks like an adult. The situation is very like comic books but aimed at teenagers. Like Tony Stark acts like he's 14. Everyone's quipping all of the time, you know, and it's like, maybe I would like Doctor Strange to act more like this. Act more like he does in Avengers, Infinity War and Endgame and stuff, instead of just like he's another Spider-Man dialogue copy-paste, right? But it doesn't bother me that much. And I think I'll probably spend a bunch of time playing it today and really getting into it. So I might have some more thoughts for you next week on that front. But yes, despite the somewhat infantile dialogue at points, the story is at least somewhat interesting. And, you know, that's enough to keep me, I guess, invested, as long as it does pick up a little bit later, perhaps. Yeah, I'm interested in the people who say the story is incredible, because I've yet to see it. But yeah, I picked up the Ultimate Pack just because it was that cheap, and that comes with all of the costumes and stuff, which you would otherwise have to buy individually, and comes with a few extra characters, and I'm curious to see how they're going to show up in the story, and like how they're going to affect the battlefield. And I think I'm just at a point where I'm still really interested to see what's going on with this game the further I get through the game. I should also mention I'm not like a super strategy-based gamer. I have been experimenting with picking up some more strategy-based titles, like I picked up the Warhammer Total War games like probably like 4 or 5 months ago, and I did not get into it the first time I tried, although I did like what I played of it. So, you know, there's a part of my brain that's like, tactical games are cool, especially of like a turn-based nature. Total War games are kind of both real-time and turn-based, depending on what aspect of the game you're concentrating on, but I'm speaking more to like the XCOM, Marvel Midnight Suns style games. I think Out of all the different types of tactical games out there, I think this is probably the type that I'm most likely to get into and enjoy. And the final game I want to talk about today is another super early first impression, or I guess it's more of a third impression. I re-downloaded and reinstalled Warframe just because I can't escape it. My best friend is in love with it. The community I'm a part of in terms of like, you know, watching a YouTube channel and live streams and like all that stuff, the one I'm most engaged with, they recently picked it up and played it. I've got a few Steam friends who keep booting it, and I'm like, fine, I'll play Warframe. Also, I miss Destiny, despite deciding to never play Destiny again. And the thing I miss about Destiny is in part the gameplay, which Warframe is similar to, and in part the far future but still set within our solar system sci-fi story, which Warframe also does. And so when I left off, I was any Warframe players will probably know what I mean when I say I was doing the Fortuna main quests, and I think I just booted it up, and while getting reacquainted with the game, I finished that quest line. So I'm still super early on. Apparently I've played 10 hours of a game across different platforms. I got that achievement today. But yeah, I think there's a lot of potential for me to enjoy Warframe. I can see myself a year from now having like over 100 hours in Warframe if it, you know, tickles my pickle. I can see myself playing more of a video game if I enjoyed a video game. Is that a shocking take? Are you gasping? I will say I see some big spreadsheet potential for the future of this game, like, you know, putting all my Warframes in a sheet and saying what level they are and all my guns and weapons and stuff, and then there's mastery levels or whatever the hell that's about. I have a lot of learning ahead of me. Speaking of spreadsheets, anyone who doesn't know me, I like making spreadsheets about things that I enjoy. Definitely not accounting or anything, but you know, when it comes to tracking video game progress and stuff like that, I tend to find it a pretty good time, as long as you can balance it in a way that makes it not feel like a chore. Last night, I went through and started putting the Marvel Epic Collections. We're talking about comics now, by the way. But yeah, I started pasting a bunch of Marvel Epic Collection info from a wiki into a spreadsheet with two checkboxes at the end of them. One of them is R and one of them is C. And what that means is one of them is, have I read it? And the second one is, have I collected it? And you might wonder, why is the second one, have you collected it? And that's because I am not made of money, and those things are £35 a book. Oh, I should probably say Marvel Epic Collections are like these pretty chunky paperbacks of around 500 pages on average, which collect entire eras of Marvel comics. So like, for instance, Amazing Spider-Man, like usually it's like 2 years or so, like 1979 to 1981. I don't remember what those would be, but that's just a random number I'm pulling out my ass. DC also do this now with their DC Finest books, and I've recently ordered my first Marvel Epic Collection book and my first DC Finest book. So collected is a tick box that is not going to be ticked very often, but what I want to do is make this spreadsheet full of them, and then go ahead and read what is collected within those books individually myself on a subscription service like Marvel Unlimited or DC Universe Infinite, so it doesn't cost me an arm and a leg. But also that could be a fun way of just tracking what I've read, and, you know, a fun way of reading things in general. Of course, despite having this exhaustive spreadsheet with every book on there, I am under no illusion I am not going to read every single book, because that would be a lifetime effort, and I don't feel like giving a lifetime effort to it. But it's also fun just to collect all that information in one place and just kind of like learn about, oh, you know, like so-and-so had a run on so-and-so title throughout these years, I didn't realize that. It's a fun way to just fathom the entirety of Marvel comics and DC comics, because it's kind of hard to fathom, especially like, I would say their apps, while they're amazing in terms of being able to read so many titles, it's also not the best for navigation a lot of the time, especially Marvel Unlimited. They definitely need to work on that. And so there's a lot of research and fathoming involved, and this is my current method of research and fathoming. But yes, for anyone interested, I have in the post Marvel's Daredevil To Dare the Devil, which is the beginning of Frank Miller's run. And then from DC Finest, I've ordered the Justice League of America, The Bridge Between Earths, which is some Silver Age stories which first introduce the concept of the multiverse. Or I guess play with it after it was introduced in The Flash. Anyway, I am about to die hilariously. Check the screen, and I'm going to end the weekly waypoint here, and I'm going to replay this with my actual live reaction, because this is the dumbest way I think anyone has ever died in Spelunky. Thank you for watching. I know I did not get past the first stage. It's very embarrassing, but what is life if not a sequence of embarrassments? Like and subscribe. Bye. Oh my god, that was so stupid.